Yamaha.
Welcome back to the Delta Center where Buddy Anton...
Suzuki's totally revamped their GSX-R600. It's pretty much all new, but it's closely based on the 750. Honda has taken the F4 and added fuel injection and done a couple of tweaks to that motorcycle as well, so that one's pretty much all new. And then Yamaha R6 has some small modifications to it to kind of make sure that last year's champ is still kind of up to date and keeping up with the rest of the competition. Triumph has returned with the TT600, which is their first effort at coming out with a four-cylinder 600 to challenge the Japanese middleweights. Kawasaki returned this year with the ZX6R, which is pretty much unchanged from last year, but really, the bike really didn't need that much changing. It's really a fantastic all-around motorcycle. We're going through the usual full-on balance of tests, good long street rides, days out on the street riding to and from work, and the usual drag strip, top speed, and racetrack testing.
So, first up, a spirited run through the Canyon Road.
With some serious canyon riding done here, what we found really is that the Suzuki pretty much, for all the testers, has come out on top as the bike that inspires the most confidence when you're really riding hard. Goes where you point it and just has fantastic front-end feedback that allows you to enter the corners with a little bit higher speed than most of the other bikes. The Honda and Yamaha are pretty close, but the Honda has a more upright riding position than the Yamaha, and because of that, it inspires a little bit more confidence on roads that you've never ridden on before. If you need to make some mid-corner steering adjustments, then the Honda is pretty much the easiest bike to deal with there. The Yamaha R6 is a razor edge motorcycle. Pretty much you have to really be on top of things when you're really riding it hard. The steering is really quick, but it also is quick enough that if you're not careful, if you're sloppy in your riding, it will definitely get you in trouble. The Kawasaki ZX6R is, again, another fantastic all-around motorcycle. It has the best ergonomics around, so you could probably ride it the longest even when you're riding through the canyons. And even though it has the best ergonomics, it still has a riding position that is radical enough that you feel natural when you're riding hard in the corners. The Triumph TT600, again, the fuel injection is really the bad point there. It requires you to really be careful when your throttle inputs. It's got some fantastic brakes, and the suspension is decent enough, and it has good ground clearance. It's mostly the fuel injection that just needs a little work to kind of keep things together.
Thanks, Kent. When MotorCyclist continues, we'll squeeze these 5 middleweights for every bit of performance we can get out of them. MotorCyclist on SpeedVision heads for the track right after this.
MotorCyclist is being brought to you by Honda, the company that defines performance on 2 wheels. Performance first.
Tom Green.
Right guard.
Ouch.
Sure doesn't taste this good in New York.
You up here on vacation?
No. Lunch.
Introducing the 260 horsepower Acura TL Type S.
Honda Cruisers never look better. Get no down payment and low 7.9% APR financing. Or with your Honda card, get no down payment and low monthly payments. As low as $99 per month on the hot new Shadow Spirit for the first 2 years. Deals to move on at your Honda dealer. Available on the best cruisers in the world.
Welcome back. Those 600 sport bikes are at their best in the twisties. That straight-line yardstick known as the drag strip provides an excellent measure of engine performance. And so we're off to L.A. County Raceway for some serious launch work.
With the 600s, it's in stock form at least, it's pretty tough to launch them because they don't have the torque of the bigger bikes. So you really have to keep them screaming off the line. Suzuki came out on top of just by a hair. The Honda, actually, the CBR4i was right there, right on its heels. They're both into the 10.7s. The Yamaha R6 was a click behind at about 10.8. And then the Kawasaki was just barely into the 10s at 10.9. And then the TT Triumph was kind of languishing in the back at 11.13.
From the drag strip, the guys rode about 30 miles to Willow Springs for the ultimate performance test, the road race circuit.
Well, out here on the track, it really brings performance to the foreground. And in that situation, I think the GSXR600 really just beats the others hands down.
The new Suzuki 600 is an excellent, excellent bike. And I would say across the board that it's probably the favorite of anybody's street bike when they're going to start riding fast. It feels broad, it feels wide, it feels big when you get on it, but that disappears once you put your feet down and start to go on it. You feel so confident with that bike. You jump on that and you feel, I can go fast on this. I want to go fast, and this thing was made to go fast.
The Triumph TT600 is it's pretty impressive package as a track bike, but we still have some problems with fuel injection, especially on the tight track, where if you let the revs drop at all into the mid-range, trying to roll back on the throttle is just a nightmare when you're at full lean. It's pretty light steering. It's got probably the best brakes of the bunch as far as bite on the track, but just trying to ride that is pretty frustrating.
The R6 feels a little bit less stable, especially with these D208s on it. I figure the R6 could benefit from a steering damper, and that might be able to bring it up to parity with the GSXR. And just almost dead equal with the R6 is the F4i. Honda's really done a great job of changing this bike this year. In fact, I think it's the biggest surprise of this test because they've managed to keep all of the streetability of the old model, yet make it a little bit more aggressive for the track.
Kawasaki ZX6R is unchanged from last year, and as we said last year, it's just the damping rates are not conducive to quick track riding for that bike. It has too little low-speed damping and too much high-speed damping. If the track is at all bumpy, you just start to lose contact with the pavement, and it just starts to get a little bit out of shape compared to the other bikes.
Later in the show, we'll have the winners of the 600 test. After the break, Burn.
We really love
SpeedVision takes you to Brazil for live exclusive coverage of the F1 Brazilian Grand Prix. That's live F1 qualifying March 31st and F1 Brazilian GP April 1st, live only on SpeedVision.
Sure, there are other ways to get out there, but then you don't get all the styling, engineering, and mystique of a Kawasaki Vulcan.
Each year, Daytona Bike Week signifies the start of the spring riding season. It is special for a lot of reasons, not least of which is the occasional launch of a new model. As Greg White and motorcyclist staffer John Burns learned, Suzuki's newest cruiser seeks to cash in on the Daytona spirit all year round. The Intruder Volusia, named for the home of Bike Week.
I guess I should start by talking a little bit more about the Volusia name. The Volusia name to Suzuki, and it really has a lot more to do with Bike Week and what Bike Week means to people. Some people come specifically to go to the International Speedway to see the road races. Some people come here on Saturday only to go see the Supercross. Some people come down here just to get away, just to ride. Some people don't even go to the racetrack. so people go to the dirt track events. But the one common bond among it is just that it is motorcyclists in general, and that's the common bond, the love of motorcycles. And that spirit is what we were trying to get across in selecting the Volusia name.
That name came about with help from the local government.
Well, the Suzuki company called, Mel Harris called and said, we'd like to take the name Volusia. So I said, send me a letter. You know, government, you gotta have letters, it's real important. So we got a letter from Mel, and I brought it to the county council, and the county council sort of stammered around and said, well, I guess it's okay.
Okay, you know its name, so how about the specs?
This is actually an 800cc motorcycle. But the idea in designing this bike was to have essentially a bike with a mid-size price point, but to give you a full-size big bike and a big bike look. It has a 65-inch wheelbase, but it also has a very low seat height and a 4.5-gallon tank, which is pretty good for a cruiser-style bike. A tank-mounted speedometer, the large flowing Valance-type fenders, two-tone paint scheme, a rigid tail or a hardtail look to the rear suspension. All of that for $65.99, which is a pretty good buy.
With a head full of technical specifications, it's time to let motorcyclist's very own John Burns burn up the asphalt on the Volusia in Volusia County.
It's hard not to come away from Daytona Bike Week without a serious case of Harley-Davidson envy. But even though this Volusia is only an 800, liquid cooled, and it really runs good. They've done a good job of getting a lot of low RPM torque, shifts gears great. The other thing that's cool is that they managed to give it a pretty good rumble too, even though it passes federal noise regulations. It sounds pretty good. And shoot, not bad suspension, nice place to sit. Actually has the look of a hardtail, even though it's not, which is kind of cool if you're into that. That feels like a big bike. And $600, it's hard to really fault it, except it doesn't say Harley Davidson on it, but different strokes, different folks, I suppose. Reporting from Daytona, John Burns, over and out.
All right, thank you, John. After the break, Dirt Rider tries out the latest in Trials bikes.
The all-new FC1 from Yamaha.
With full-time all-wheel drive, the new Subaru WRX stays glued to the road. With a turbocharged 227 horsepower boxer engine, you'll swear you're flying. That's the beauty of Subaru all-wheel drive.
Sunday morning, take a cruise in the Lady Priss. Then feel the wind in the Jupiter 27. Plus, boat test the Kawasaki Ultra 150. The Pleasure Boater at 10 Eastern. Maxima Marine at 10:30. Boat test reports at 11. It happens here and only here. You get every race, every moment live. And March 31st, SpeedVision takes you to Brazil for live exclusive coverage of the F1 Brazilian Grand Prix. That's live F1 qualifying March 31st and F1 Brazilian GP April 1st, live only on SpeedVision.
Leave it to Dirt Rider magazine to come up with a new and different way to test the latest crop of Trials bikes. Now, these machines aren't just for the serious competitor. They are among the most enjoyable play bikes you'll find anywhere. So we've sought the impressions of some guys whose areas of expertise are well outside the world of trials.
We're doing a Trials bike comparison test with a little twist. We're using these guys from other motorcycle sports to show that there's a lot of interest in trials from a lot of different riders. There are 5 bikes available for trials in America now, and we've got a Gas, we've got Boltaco, we've got Montesa, we've got Scorpa, and we've got Beta. So those are the 5.
Beta Rev 3, 270cc. They've also got a 250cc. One of the trick things on the bike's a linkage-less rear suspension. No linkage at all. Prevents a lot of play. There's no slack. When you're going over a big step, it just grabs right onto the rock, pulls you right over it. It handles real nice. It's great for every type of rider, from novice to a master. It balances really easy. The suspension set up real nice. Real easy to turn. It doesn't try to force you over the bars or force you to the back. The pegs are real low. Center of gravity is just great.
It's a Scorpa. It's French-made. It was formerly using a Rotax engine, and as of this year, they've made an alliance with Yamaha, and it's a 250cc water-cooled. It has a lot quicker power with the Yamaha engine than the Rotax, and the whole package is lighter.
2001 Churco is the lightest bike that's been produced yet for trials at 154 pounds. With the exhaust system tucked in underneath the subframe, you don't feel that ever against your legs, so you can really lay the bike over on its side in the turns. With the 275cc motor, all the bikes seem to be going to that size as sort of a compromise between the buzzy 250s and the real torquey 320s.
Well, the Montesa trials bike is called a Coda, which means mountain peak in Spanish. It's called a 315R. It's really 250cc. Engine's built by HRC, which is Honda Racing Corporation. It's currently the world champion bike, and obviously my favorite bike. I like the Honda influence on the motorcycle. I think a lot of people feel at home with that. All the hardware and components are directly from Honda, even though it's not sold by Honda in the United States.
This year, the new bike has new forks on it that are softer and smoother than previous models. And they've also done some changes to the exhaust system. They've made the exhaust a little wider in the center box, which makes the motor a little bit smoother than some of the other bikes. And overall, they've got a pretty polished package because they've been working on this same basic frame design for about 3 seasons.
The rules are, when you put your feet down, if you don't put any feet down, that's the best you can do. Or you could put 1 foot down, 2 feet down, 3 feet down, and you could act like a centipede through the section and still get a 3, okay? Or you get a 5 if you crash or go out of bounds or anything like that.
Or roll backwards.
You can't roll backwards, you can't go sideways. You can stop, but you get a point for it.
Your scores are 1, 2, 3, 5.
Yeah. 0, 1, 2, 3, 5.
I'm gonna watch Mike. Where he goes, I go.
Yeah.
Sure about that?
I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just having fun. Watching him do it makes me gotta go do it now, so time to go play.
They're looking good for their first time out.
You're having any fun.
Well, it's hard when you just suck so bad.
It's okay when you're riding on the rocks, just goofing around, but as soon as you get up with it in between the tape, road racing, it all becomes a totally different ball game.
Good. We'll get on. So let's just move on, you guys.
It's amazing. They all look identical. You know, and you wouldn't think they'd be that much different, but definitely you can feel it in the steering. This one seems a wee little easier for me, and that's good.
We call them characteristics. There's no bad trials bike. They're so similar, but everyone has its own characteristics. There's subtle differences in where they put the foot pegs, each manufacturer. And interestingly enough, the guys who ride these bikes in top competition, the bikes are surprisingly stock.
Overall, I'd say the gas and the Sherpa were my best.
I think the gas seem to fit me the best, but they're all really, really good. So, I don't know, I might have to go out and buy one.
A favorite of mine is the Montesa. I think probably just because it has HRC logos all over it and it looks factory. But the Montesa felt really good, and so did the, I mean, there's so many of them. They all felt good, they're fun.
I would probably say the Bultaco is probably one of the easiest bikes to ride because it's so light and so quick turning and easy. And I would say the gas and the Montesa have a lot of low-end power, and those are probably the bikes you'd want to have if you're hitting those really, really steep faces or really rock where you need that extra power.
It's just really hard to say which bike I think is the best. I think there was bikes that I jumped on that felt a little bit more comfortable right off the bat, but I think overall all the bikes are just outstanding.
Okay, thanks, guys. When MotorCyclist returns, we'll hand down a verdict.
No matter what kind of biking you're into, you can get the information you want and the answers you need in America's #1 motorcycle magazine, MotorCyclist. Call now to get your free trial issue of MotorCyclist and save 79% off the cover price. Every month, you'll get the straight story on buying a bike, the first look at new products, expert advice on getting more horsepower, and the most in-depth bike information anywhere. Call 1-800-253-0422 to get your free trial issue of MotorCyclist, America's leading bike magazine, with facts and figures on every bike for every biker. Only MotorCyclist gives you everything you need to kick your bike into high gear. Call 1-800-253-0422 to get your free trial issue and save 79% on MotorCyclist magazine. Call now.
Tom Green here at Must.
Are all about winning, and right now the big winner is Honda. 600 Super Sport Champion and Formula Extreme Champion. Now it's time for you to win on the CBR929RR and the new 600F4i. With your Honda card, get no down payment and monthly payments as low as $139 on the 600F4i for the first 2 years. Deals to move on at your Honda dealer. The Honda CBRs and you. Everyone wins.
MotorCyclist has been brought to you by Honda, the company that defines performance on two wheels. Performance first.
The heat is on in April as MotorCyclist and its sister publications fire up newsstands everywhere. Superbikes, Mighty Minis, Turbos, Tests, and Triple Crowns. Pick one up and we'll even throw in a 193-mile-an-hour 600.
And now the moment for which you have all been waiting. The last step in Sport Rider Magazine's comparison of 600 sport bikes. Picking a winner.
When our testing on the street kind of brought out a few subjective comments, when we came out here to the racetrack, we did find that there were some differences between the bikes, and in company this good, when the competition is this fierce between all the manufacturers, any small flaw really shows up. With the Triumph TT600, mostly centered around the engine. The chassis and brakes are great. The fuel injection just needs just a little bit more refinement. It's a little bit abrupt off the closed throttle, and it's kind of difficult to be able to be smooth in the tighter sections of the track. The Kawasaki ZX6R, overall, it's just as the pace heats up, the suspension chassis just starts to come unglued just a bit. You really can't keep up the fast pace of the top 3 bikes. And that brings us to the Yamaha R6, the Honda CBR4i, and the new GSX-R600. Between the 3 of them, it was really, really close. For me, the GSX-R600 just inspired the most confidence. The chassis was just rock stable, and the motor is definitely the strongest one out there. Also, for all our testers out here, when it really came down to it, when we really asked them what motorcycle they really could go fast on and really gave them the most confidence, it was Suzuki's GSX-R600.
Thanks, Kent. You know, there are a couple of ways that the manufacturers go about selling these 600s. One is comparisons like this one. The other is serious racing efforts. And so let's consider. Suzuki has already won the comparison test. Honda has won the 600 race at Daytona. And in the ProStar season opener, Kawasaki became the first 600 to go into the 9s. And it's only March. My guess is we'll find some additional things to complicate your buying decision by the time you're ready to write the check. I'm Dave Despain. That's MotorCyclist on Speed Vision. We'll see you next time.